Have you noticed your grown children pulling away lately? Maybe your calls don't last as long as they used to, or family visits feel more like formal obligations than joyful reunions. What if the real problem isn't distance, but the very words you're using when you talk to them? Today, we're exposing 5 hidden phrases that can quietly destroy the bond between parents and their adult kids. In this first part of the video, we'll explore the first 3 phrases, why they're so harmful, and the healthy alternatives that bring families closer. Stick with me, because phrase number 2 is so toxic, it can shut down a relationship for years. A true story to begin.
Meet Harriet, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio. Harriet adored her 3 adult children, but in recent years she noticed something painful. Phone calls became shorter, family dinners felt tense, and invitations were politely declined. Heartbroken, Harriet blamed busy schedules until a family counseling session revealed the real issue. The therapist gently pointed out several common phrases Harriet used in nearly every conversation. None of them were outright insults, yet each one created pressure, guilt, or judgment. Harriet was stunned. She truly believed she was just expressing love and concern. Once Harriet learned to replace those phrases with healthier language, the change was dramatic. Within 3 months, her kids were calling more often, visiting more frequently, and conversations felt warm again. Harriet's experience proves that the wrong words can build invisible walls, but the right words can take them down just as quickly. Toxic. Phrase number 1, after everything I've done for you. It's late at night, you feel lonely. Your child hasn't returned your call, and before you can stop yourself, you sigh into the phone. After everything I've done for you, the least you could do is visit. It sounds harmless, maybe even true, but relationship experts say this is one of the most damaging sentences a parent can use. Why it hurts. Family therapist Dr. Marissa Cole explains that this phrase turns love into a transaction. It's like presenting an emotional invoice, she says. Parents are reminding their children of every sacrifice, creating a sense of debt the child can never fully repay. Instead of gratitude, it breeds guilt and resentment. Real-life example. Gregory, a retired accountant in Arizona, couldn't figure out why his son rarely called. During a rare dinner together, Gregory once again mentioned how he paid for college and helped with a down payment on a first home. His son finally snapped, admitting those reminders felt like endless guilt trips. Instead of bringing them closer, Gregory's sacrifices had become emotional weapons. A better way to say it. Instead of keeping score, share your feelings directly. Try, I really miss hearing from you. Could we set up a regular time to catch up, maybe Sunday evenings? This statement expresses a need for connection without implying that your child owes you anything. Parenting was a gift you chose to give, not a loan that demands repayment. Toxic. Phrase number 2, your spouse is turning you against me. This is the single most dangerous phrase on today's list, one that can break a relationship in an instant. Why it hurts. Accusing your child's partner of manipulation doesn't just criticize their spouse. It questions your child's judgment, independence, and loyalty. According to family counselor Dr. James Whitfield, this statement forces adult children into a painful loyalty test. No matter how much they love their parent, most will choose to protect their marriage. Barbara's story. Barbara, a grandmother from Washington State, often joked that her son's wife didn't allow him to visit. Comments like, "I bet Emily doesn't want you spending time with me," seemed lighthearted to Barbara, but they reached Emily through her son, and the tension was explosive. At a family barbecue, Barbara finally blurted, "You were never like this before you got married." That night, her son texted to say they needed a break from the relationship. The break lasted 18 months. Barbara missed birthdays, holidays, and the birth of her first grandchild. It took months of counseling and a heartfelt apology before healing began. A better way to say it. Instead of blaming the spouse, embrace the partnership. Try, I value both of you so much. I'd love to find ways we can spend time together that work for everyone. This approach respects your child's marriage while still expressing your desire for connection. Toxic phrase number 3. In my day, we did things differently. On the surface, this sounds like harmless nostalgia. But when repeated, it quietly sends a message. The way you're living your life is wrong. Why it hurts. Intergenerational researcher Dr. Sophia Chen notes that this phrase sets up a competition between past and present. Each time you compare your day to theirs, you imply that modern choices, whether about careers, parenting, or technology, are inferior. Timothy's experience. Timothy, a 74-year-old grandfather in Tennessee, couldn't understand why his daughter bristled at his child care advice. He often began sentences with, "Back in my day, kids respected their parents," or, "We never needed all these safety gadgets." Though Timothy meant well, his daughter felt judged and undermined. Once Timothy replaced criticism with curiosity, asking why certain practices had changed instead of dismissing them. The tension disappeared. Conversations became collaborative instead of combative. A better way to say it. Instead of drawing lines between generations, invite dialogue. Try, I'm curious about how you're approaching this. Would it help if I shared what worked for me when you were little? This keeps the door open for sharing wisdom without making it a contest. Why these phrases are so dangerous. These first 3 phrases may sound ordinary, but research shows they trigger the same stress response in the brain as a physical threat. Harvard neuroscientist Dr. Ethan Hayes explains, when adult children hear guilt, blame, or judgment from a parent, the brain releases stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, the natural reaction is avoidance. Less contact, fewer calls, shorter visits. That's why children who love their parents can still drift away. They're protecting themselves from emotional pain. Practical steps to change. Breaking old habits isn't easy, but it is possible. Family counselors recommend a simple 3-step process. Notice the trigger. Before speaking, ask yourself, am I lonely, anxious, or frustrated right now? Recognizing the feeling helps you choose better words. Pause and breathe. A 5-second pause can stop an old phrase from slipping out. Speak the need, not the guilt. Instead of, "You never call," say, "I'd love to hear from you more often. When might be a good time for you?" These small shifts replace accusation with authentic connection. Moving forward. Now you know the first 3 phrases to avoid and how to replace them with language that invites closeness instead of conflict. In the next part of this series, we'll reveal the final 2 toxic phrases, including the one that silently drives adult children to limit contact even when they still love their parents. If you recognize any of these patterns in your own conversations, don't panic. Change begins with awareness. Choose one phrase to eliminate this week and practice its healthier alternative. Your children will feel the difference, even if they don't say so right away. Toxic phrase. Number 4. You never visit or call me. This phrase might spill out when you're feeling lonely or overlooked. Maybe days have passed since your adult child last checked in, and frustration rises. The words escape almost automatically. You never call me anymore. Or, you never visit. On the surface, it sounds like a simple observation, but psychologists warn that absolute statements like never or always are emotional landmines. Why it hurts. Family relationship specialist Dr. Michael Ramirez explains, when a parent uses the word never, it creates a no-win situation. Even if the adult child called last week, the statement erases that effort and implies nothing they do is ever enough. This kind of language triggers defensiveness. Instead of motivating your child to reach out, it pushes them to retreat because no amount of contact will satisfy a moving target. Evelyn's story. Take Evelyn, a 70-year-old widow from Chicago. Evelyn adored her only daughter and longed for more time together. But every conversation began with comments like, "I haven't heard from you in forever," or "You never come to see me anymore." In reality, her daughter called 2 or 3 times a week and visited once a month despite a demanding career and 2 young children. But Evelyn's words made those efforts invisible. Over time, her daughter began to dread the calls, knowing she would face guilt instead of gratitude. The turning point came when a friend suggested Evelyn keep a simple calendar of every interaction, phone calls, texts, and visits. Within 2 weeks, she was shocked to discover just how often her daughter reached out. The problem wasn't neglect, it was Evelyn's own perception. A better way to say it: instead of focusing on what's missing, highlight what you value. Try. "I really enjoyed our chat on Tuesday. It meant a lot to me. I'd love to find a regular time to connect that works for you. Maybe every Sunday evening?" This statement communicates your desire for more connection without erasing the efforts your child is already making. Why it works.
This small shift transforms the conversation from accusation to appreciation. Your adult child hears, "My parent loves talking with me," instead of, "Nothing I do is good enough." Over time, positive reinforcement encourages more visits and calls naturally. Toxic phrase number 5. You'll regret it when I'm gone. Few phrases cut deeper or drive adult children further away than this one. It often comes from a place of deep fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of death, or fear of being unloved. But despite its emotional weight, this phrase acts like emotional blackmail. Why it hurts. Gerontologist Dr. Elizabeth Parker describes it bluntly. Invoking your own mortality as a bargaining chip doesn't inspire love. It triggers anxiety and avoidance. Children begin to associate contact with guilt and grief rather than warmth. In other words, instead of creating urgency to connect, this phrase creates a powerful urge to escape. Robert's story. Consider Robert, a 78-year-old grandfather from Denver. Whenever his children couldn't attend a family gathering, Robert responded with comments like, "Someday I'll be gone, and you'll wish you spent more time with me." He believed this would remind them of the importance of family. Instead, his children began calling less and shortening visits, dreading the inevitable guilt trip. Holidays felt like emotional minefields. Finally, Robert's oldest son confronted him gently but firmly. "Dad, when you talk about dying to make us feel bad, it doesn't bring us closer. It just makes us sad and afraid." That conversation was a wake-up call. With help from a family counselor, Robert realized he was expressing a real need for connection in the worst possible way. Once he began sharing his feelings directly, without threats, his children relaxed and began visiting more often. A better way to say it. Instead of leveraging fear, focus on the positive experiences you hope to create. Try.
"I cherish the time we spend together and hope we can make more memories in the coming months." This communicates love and longing without guilt. Your children will want to spend time with you because they enjoy it, not because they fear future regret. The hidden danger of these phrases. What makes these 5 phrases so destructive is their disguised innocence. None of them sound overtly cruel. In fact, many parents believe they're simply expressing love, concern, or nostalgia. But decades of research in family psychology reveal a consistent pattern. Guilt-based phrases create defensiveness. Comparisons across generations create distance. Emotional threats create avoidance.
Neuroscientists at Harvard have discovered that when people hear accusatory or manipulative statements from loved ones, The brain triggers the same fight or flight response that occurs during physical danger. Stress hormones like cortisol flood the body, making the listener subconsciously associate the speaker with anxiety. This explains why adult children may pull away, even when they still love their parents. Their nervous system is simply protecting them from emotional pain. Breaking the cycle, a practical roadmap. The good news is that awareness changes everything. Once you recognize these patterns, you can replace them with healthier communication that draws your family closer instead of driving them away. Step 1. Build self-awareness. The next time you feel the urge to say one of these phrases, pause and ask yourself, what emotion am I really feeling? Am I lonely, afraid, or longing for appreciation?
Naming the feeling allows you to address the real need instead of masking it with blame. Step 2. Pause before speaking. A 5-second pause is surprisingly powerful. It gives you a chance to breathe, think, and choose words that reflect love rather than frustration. Over time, this habit rewires your automatic responses. Step 3. Express the need directly. Instead of "you never visit," try "I miss you and would love to spend more time together." When might be a good weekend for you? Instead of "you'll regret it when I'm gone," try "I treasure every moment we share and hope we can plan something special soon." Direct communication removes the emotional landmines and invites genuine dialogue, replacing guilt with gratitude. Family counselors emphasize the power of positive reinforcement. Thank your child for every call or visit, no matter how brief. Highlight specific moments you enjoyed, like "I loved hearing about your new project at work," or "those photos of the grandkids made my day." When children associate interactions with warmth and appreciation, they naturally seek out more contact. Patricia's transformation. To see how powerful these changes can be, meet Patricia, a 75-year-old grandmother from Boston. For years, Patricia's 3 children kept their distance despite living nearby. She often used all 5 toxic phrases, believing she was simply telling the truth. After attending a family communication workshop, Patricia committed to eliminating these habits. At first, her children were skeptical. They waited for the guilt trips that never came. Slowly, walls came down. 6 months later, her daughter invited Patricia on a weekend getaway, a gesture that would have been unthinkable the year before. Patricia reflects, "It wasn't that my kids didn't love me. They just couldn't handle the emotional weight of my words. Once I changed, they came back to me on their own." Building stronger bonds for the future. Avoiding these 5 phrases is only the beginning. To truly strengthen relationships with your adult children, focus on creating positive, enjoyable connections. Here are some proven strategies. 1. Express appreciation regularly. Notice the little things: a thoughtful text, a shared photo, a quick phone call. Even a simple "thank you for checking in, it means a lot," builds goodwill. 2. Respect boundaries. Adult children juggle careers, friendships, and their own families. Respect their schedules and personal space. A relationship built on respect will always outlast one built on guilt. 3. Show interest without judgment. Ask about their work, hobbies, or parenting approaches with curiosity, not criticism. Replace "in my day we did it better" with "that's interesting. Tell me more about how that works." 4. Create new traditions. Instead of insisting on the same holiday rituals you kept for decades, collaborate on new traditions that fit everyone's current lives. Maybe that means a summer picnic instead of a formal Thanksgiving dinner, or a monthly video call when travel is difficult. 5. Make interactions enjoyable. Be the parent your children want to talk to, not the one they feel obligated to call. Share uplifting stories, positive memories, or even light-hearted jokes. Laughter is a powerful glue. A final word of encouragement. If you recognized yourself in any of these 5 phrases, don't be discouraged. You are not a bad parent. These habits are incredibly common, and they can be changed. The first step is awareness. The second is consistent practice. Every conversation is a chance to build trust, warmth, and connection. Even if your relationship with your adult children feels strained today, small daily choices can open the door to healing. Start by eliminating just one of these phrases this week. Replace it with a loving alternative. Notice how the energy in your conversations begins to shift. Your children may not comment right away, but they will feel the difference. Key takeaways. Phrase 1. After everything I've done for you. Instead say, I miss hearing from you. Can we plan a call? Phrase 2. Your spouse is turning you against me. Instead say, I value both of you and want to spend more time together. Phrase 3. In my day, we did things differently. Instead say, I'm curious about your approach. May I share what worked for me? Phrase 4. You never visit or call me. Instead say, I loved our call on Tuesday. Can we plan another soon? Phrase 5. You'll regret it when I'm gone, and instead say, I treasure every moment with you and hope we can make more memories. These small shifts change the conversation from guilt to gratitude, from judgment to joy. Your words have incredible power. They can either build bridges or erect barriers. By letting go of these 5 toxic phrases and replacing them with expressions of love, curiosity, and appreciation, you give your adult children the greatest gift of all, a relationship they genuinely want to nurture. It's never too late to start over. Whether you're 60 or 90, every phone call, every visit, every shared laugh can become a new chapter in a stronger, happier family story. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button, share it with a friend or sibling, and subscribe to this channel for more practical insights on building loving family connections at every stage of life. Your next conversation could be the start of a beautiful new beginning.